For those of you that don't know me, I am excited to meet everybody and see some of the people that I do know. And I want you to think of me as your support system. Now, Linda gave you some of my highlights, which I love. But what I do want to add to everybody, I want you to know that when I first decided to start my company, I sat myself down and I asked myself, what would I have wanted if I was starting all over in my career? Now, since I've always been in male-dominated industries, I would have wanted somebody that looked like me. And I don't mean look like me, but a woman that would have understood what it was like to be a single mom. Maybe show me some of the speed bumps that I was going to hit, or maybe help me develop a blueprint that I could work with instead of having to do it by myself. I didn't want somebody to do it for me, but I wanted somebody that would be able to challenge me and celebrate with me and let me know that I was doing a good job, because you don't ordinarily hear that. I had a lot of successful men who were my mentors, but I didn't have that woman. So when I started my company, I became that woman, the woman that was going to help other women get to the success level that they define. My mission has always been to help one woman a day, and that's what I do every single day. So with that said, I do want to also share one very important piece that I don't want you to forget, and that's about your priorities. Now, what you see here, you're going to see a lot of things that have to do with me professionally, but what you also will see that my whole entire world revolves around my family. So as ambitious, as competitive, or whatever adjective you want to use for yourself professionally, don't forget those that are the most important to you, because as we all know, life is fast and life is short. So let's dive in. Here's the deal. Linda mentioned 85%. That is a number I don't want you to forget, because 85% of all consumer purchasing decisions are influenced by women, 85%. But here's the deal. Car manufacturers, financial service companies, technology companies, electronics, everything, they have their heads in the sand when they think about what's happening with the spiraling consumer power of women. They don't even realize it. So instead of trying to attract women in advertising and things like that by actually using women, they continue as if the men are really the decision makers. The truth is that they think that anything that has to do with household or clothing are done by women and everything else are done by men. But in fact, women make the majority of all buying decisions, whether it's the car that their family drives or where they bank, where they invest, women are making those decisions. And everyone has suspected for a long time that women hold the purse strings, because again, 85% of all buying decisions are influenced by women. The difference today is that women also are earners. Big difference. So let's not forget that the 85% of consumer purchasing decisions are influenced by women, but also women are earning. So how do we want to make sure that we understand the differences between the way men and women sell, buy, and so on? Women sell the way they want to buy. Women shop, men buy. Women are going to look for specific things and scan everywhere. Men walk in and they get out and they buy exactly what they need. Women want to be part of the process and they want to build relationships. So now let's take the 85% that we said, it's already been said like 5 times, take that 85% and add it to the fact that women are also more than 50% of the US workforce, and put that together, because that's the winning combination in anyone's business. But most companies overlook the fact that with that high percentage of women and the sales professionals that are out there right this moment, they don't always know how to communicate with this market. So what I want to do first is I want to give you 3 strategies, 3 sales strategies that are going to support you in selling to women. Now, trust me when I say, I know that a lot of you know some of these things, but I'm going to tell you, we usually forget more than we remember. So the first one is asking questions. And this is my all-time favorite, because I've been dubbed the question queen. This is where we find out how to begin the relationship. So the differences between men and women is that women ask questions because they want to build a relationship and they want to gather information, while men want to gather information and build a relationship later on. See the difference? One is showing interest in the person, one is showing interest in the transaction. Women ask a lot of questions. Actually, it's 3 times more questions than men ask. And most of the time, we can't move forward until we have the answers to all the questions. Sometimes we ask questions that men don't even think about. because it's important to us. What we're purchasing, your product, your service, whatever it is, it doesn't only affect us, it affects the people around us. So we want to make sure we have all the answers. Men exchange information, and sometimes women have relationships with the information they exchange. Now, for someone that doesn't understand why we ask so many questions, the truth of the matter is that women ask questions because they want to know more about you, whether you're the salesperson or the person that they're being sold to. When you are interested in that person, that's where it comes in. That's the key. This is the time to be interested in, not interesting to. Big difference. Interested in, not interesting to. So men are going to concentrate on the facts and the figures and closing the deal more quickly than women. Women take longer. And sometimes that's why people want to work with men, because they're very decisive. Women want to make sure that they have all the decisions made, is that they know what's happening. They also might want to check it out with some of their expert friends that have already been involved with your business and your service. But let me tell you a little secret about building relationships. In my 30 years of sales, I have never, ever, ever, and I'll add another never, sold anything to anyone. And yet I was the number one sales agent. I was the number one sales leader. I was the number one agency manager, because all I did was have conversations, ask questions, and included people into the decision-making factor. That is the important piece of this puzzle. So that's number one. Number two is, after you ask the questions, you have to start listening. This is a vital part of the process. Is anyone listening to what you're saying? But more importantly, are you listening to what your client is saying? Because the best compliment that a salesperson will ever get is that he or she listened. You actually listened. There's nothing better than getting that compliment. So I told you the difference between the way they ask questions. What about listening? If you think about it, women listen for the complete story. They listen with their eyes and they listen with their ears. They face the person they're talking to because they want to be part of that conversation. Men relay information and they're listening for facts and figures. And sometimes, and you can giggle if you want, but sometimes we accuse them of having selective hearing. Because the truth of the matter is, when you're in a conversation with men, a lot of times they tune you right out until they hear something interesting and they tune you right back in, something that's important to them. So while asking questions builds the relationship, the listening cements it. And as the saying goes, listen to what your customers really want instead of trying to figure out what they want. So if you listen, you're going to hear it. They're going to tell you. But here's number three, and it's the most important concept of them all. It's building relationships. So it's all about connections. We talk about sharing versus selling. Our focus is on building the relationship and then maintaining it and growing it. The result is long-term relationships. But don't forget this. The building of the relationship has to do with that 85%. Okay, again, you've heard it. But the truth is, whether you're buying from, selling to, working with, 85% of all purchasing decisions are influenced by women. So if you remember nothing else, remember the 85%, because that's going to change the way that you think about this lucrative market. Women have this buying power. They take a little longer to decide. They may ask more questions, but the truth of the matter is the relationship that they're building with you is long-term. She's going to ask you questions. She's going to want to put her opinion in there, and she wants to make sure you're listening to her needs. So what about social media? Where do you think that fits in? What do you think social media is all about? It's about relationships. Women use social media more than men. It's relationship. Now, have you ever seen how a relationship works online? How many of you have bought from Amazon? Anybody ever buy anything from Amazon? Okay, just think about that. Maybe in the last 5 minutes. Well, this is how my online version works when I buy something from Amazon. I buy something and I come back the next day, and here's what I hear. Hi, Judy, welcome back. We're so glad you're here. When you were here yesterday, you bought this. You looked at this, but you put it aside, but you bought this. Guess what? All of your friends are also looking at this. You might want to look at that also. That's what mine sounds like. So what do we want to do? We want to be part of everybody else. And so we look at what our friends are buying and we buy it. That's a relationship. It's pretty awesome though when it happens online, isn't it? But here's the other piece of that. Women have an average of 400 email and cell phone contacts, 400, and they're twice as likely to pass on information in the form of referrals. So think about that. Amazon just gave me a referral from my friends. They said that they bought something like a light, or they bought a bottle of water, or they bought whatever. And I'm thinking, well, if they have it, I might want to do that too. And then I'm going to share it. So I'm going to call Barbara and I'm going to say, Barbara, guess what? You need to buy this water also. And then it travels. So it's pretty cool how it works. But here's the real thing. Women are searching for you. They want to have collaborative relationships. They're very deliberate in making their decisions. They may take some time to do their research before they settle on what they want, but important is that they're looking for that communication and that community. They're looking for focusing on somebody that's going to hear them and is going to want to do business with them. They're looking for someone they can trust rather than just getting short-term results. So what you want to make sure that you do is recognize women as partners, okay? Make sure that you're treating both the male and female clients that you're working with equal, even if one of the two are the ones that brought you in. So think about the service that you provide or the product that you serve, that the person might have called you in and now their spouse is with them. Show them equal respect. But let me just say, you need to talk to the woman more than you talk to the man. And the reason is because they're the person that actually is making the decision for the family. Believe it or not, a lot of times the man is the breadwinner, so you think, but the women are the ones that actually control the money. And women are very attuned to whether you're going to answer their questions or not. So be really careful about that, especially as women. I always say you need to focus on the female portion of the duet over there, because a lot of times women are very territorial. So you talk to the woman. I have many stories about that as well. So respect, trust, and connection is the winning combination. But now it's about you. Who are you looking for? Let's say you want to open up the female market that you're not doing. Maybe you're opening just a little bit, but now you want to really get into the female market. You have to make sure, and as Linda said earlier, you can't help everybody. You cannot help everybody, because if you try to help everyone, you help no one. So you want to make sure that you can put this to the test. Define who your ideal female client is. Remember, your ideal clients are the ones that you typically love to do business with. They value your expertise. They know what your experience is worth. And one person's perfect client might be someone else's nightmare. So there's no right or wrong answer with who you choose. You just have to start to picture this person in your mind. Who's your perfect person? And once you do, decide what's the problem that you solve for her. What is it that you can do for her? Because when you meet her, you want to be able to understand why she called to meet you in the first place. And then you want to be able to find out why you, of all the other realtors, of all the other financial advisors, of all the other coaches, why you? What's the benefit to her by working with you? What's the experience that you're going to give to her? And then when the time is right, she's going to want to introduce you to her network. And that gives you instant credibility. So remember, it doesn't happen the moment that she becomes a client of yours. Relationships take time and the investment is very worth it. But most importantly, you have to show her that you care. So here's some of the things that is going to make your relationship even better. Think about this. Do you sell to men the same way that you sell to women? And if you do, you might be in for some disappointments, because women buy differently. And it's time for you to note some of the differences so you can continue this great success that's right in front of you. For women, selling is more about rapport. It's about building friendships. It's about building the connection with other women. Trust is especially important. So you have to get to know her before you start to sell her. And selling for women is a very different sales process. She approaches this a little casually at first. It's like a first date. Think of it when you want to get to know somebody on the first date. The first thing you don't say to them is, do you want to get married? So you have to get to know them. It's a longer sales cycle because of the time it takes to build that trusting relationship. And sometimes men think that if you give a compliment, it's going to build that relationship quicker. But the truth is, you can say something positive, but don't say something about the way she looks. What if you said something about what she does? So instead of saying, wow, you look great, your dress is beautiful, it's better to say, that's a great decision. because women won't buy from you unless they like you, unless they know you, and unless they trust you. So one quick way to destroy their relationship is to make them feel less than intelligent. Anybody ever felt that people are talking down to you, maybe a little condescending? So here's what you want to do. You want to make sure that you include her in the conversation. Make sure that you ask her questions and then you listen, because you want her to know that her opinion really, really matters. So you can start the meeting that you have with her by saying, what do you want to accomplish with our time today? And let her talk to you, because this is being respectful. And I know some of you are saying, well, I'm a woman, I know all of that. It's not true. We don't always know how to treat other women. We don't. And there's a lot of statistics to prove that. But when you talk to women, you don't want to present a limited number of options for her to talk about. Think of it as an essay question. You're asking her for her opinion, an essay, not a multiple choice question. You also, as you're using the word time, what did you want to accomplish with our time today? You're letting her know that you respect her time, because women are usually the ones that are juggling families and work. They are homemakers. They're CEOs of their home. They have limited time. As soon as they come home, there's a load of laundry or there's dishes or whatever they have to do. So it doesn't always allow women to have extra time, but what they want to do is they want to make sure that you're giving them the time that they need to describe what they need. And you want to give them more than just service. You want to make sure that they're paying for more than just good service. They want first-class service. It's going to be the bottom line for women. So instead of focusing on price, emphasize how excellent your service is. Because when you earn a woman's trust and you earn her business, you also tend to keep it, because women are very loyal. So what do women want anyway? Well, they want to be understood. They want to know that you understand what the problem is that prompted them to meet with you anyway. They also want a feeling of connection. Are you somebody that they actually want in your home or their business? Do they feel like you're on their side and that you're going to help them? They want peace of mind. What assurances can you provide them that they're making the right decision about working with you? And they want trust. What do you do to demonstrate how trustworthy you are? Do you listen when they speak? Do you provide solutions that are based on what they need, what they've told you that they wanted? And they want long-term relationships. Are you going to be there if they have a problem? Will they feel confident enough that they can call you again? Do they feel enough confidence in letting you know that they trust you with their family, with their friends? That's what women want. But what don't women want? Well, you all remember this program, right? Women don't want to be treated disrespectfully. They want, when they're representing such a large part of the American workforce, that they want to be treated with respect. There's no reason not to respect women. They also do not want hard sell tactics. So all the things that I said that women want, if you listen to that, you wouldn't even do hard tactics. What they also don't want is they want to make sure that you know that women are a force to be reckoned with. Many women will say they can shop till they drop. The truth is they know how to buy, they know how to bargain, and they know how to negotiate. So you have to explain things to them, but don't underestimate their ability. And unless you want to get into a match of price comparison with your competitors, you need to present your unique selling proposition to them so they understand why they should deal with you. And many salespeople go right into promoting what they're selling as soon as they get their person's attention. And that's not the way to do it. It's building a relationship. So most successful people in sales are relationship focused rather than sales focused. Okay, relationship focused rather than sales. And it's important before, during, and after the sale. And it takes months to find a customer, but seconds to lose them. So remember one of these things I'm going to tell you. This is one of the first things I want you to make sure you understand. You don't close a sale, you open a relationship if you want to build a long-term relationship with someone. Think about that again. You don't close a sale, you open a relationship. And that's really important. And one of the ways you can do it is with eye contact. You have to understand female clients feel comfortable when you look at them in their eyes, okay? When she asks you a question, look at her in the eyes and answer it. Don't stare her down. That's not what I'm saying. Just make sure that the two of you have connected eyes. Make sure that you communicate through your eyes, that you're listening, you understand about what she's saying. In 2021, almost twice as many women joined the workforce than men. 2021, remember where we were in 2021? But almost twice as many women joined the workforce. Selling specifically to women became a lot more important than ever before. What are they paying attention to? What do you need to know? What are they doing differently than men? What catches their eye? What is it that you have that you can do to make sure she understands that you are understanding what she wants, what she needs, and that you have the answer for it? She's likely the chief purchasing officer in her home, because not only do women earn more than they ever before, but they also control, remember the statistic, 85% of consumer purchasing decisions. And guess what? In corporate, the women that are in, that are the buyers are in HR, in any of the roles that they're purchasing agents. They're also influencing 80% in the corporate world. Okay, so it's not just at home, it's also in corporations. And here's something that I would bet we all understand it because we're women, but think about it in a sales scenario. You have to watch for this very crucial cue when you're selling to women. What do women do when they're talking to you? They nod, right? Everybody nods their head. They go, What that means is, I get it, keep talking. And some salespeople confuse the nodding and the as they're ready to buy. And then they get to the end and they're saying, I'm not ready. I still have to think about it. And people are confused by that because they're always constantly going, When they stop nodding, it means that they want to say something. They want to add something to the conversation. But guess what? Women were taught you're supposed to listen and wait your turn and not interrupt. So there's a funny story about that. The woman said, he didn't stop talking. He just kept going. He didn't give me any indication that I could speak. I closed my notebook. I put my papers away. I arranged everything on my desk, but nothing worked. The truth of the matter is that she was sending the salesperson a message saying, I'm being polite. This is a nonverbal signal. It's my turn to speak. But since she wouldn't interrupt him, he had no idea. So be very careful that you're looking for verbal and, more importantly, the nonverbal cues. And let's remember that women ask a lot more questions, so they take longer in that buying decision. It's not because she's fickle. It's not because she can't make a decision. She just wants to make sure that she's doing the right thing. Men stop as soon as they hear something that's important to them, they go after it. Women want to get the whole story. They want to make sure they understand everything. They're detail oriented. And I don't know about you, but most salespeople have watched Glengarry Glen Ross. It's one of the biggest sales movies ever. And they've always taught you to the ABCs of closing, ABCs of sales, always be closing. But women find this to be exhausting. So you want to make sure that you're not always closing. And one of the things you can do after you've had a conversation, maybe you already sold something to the person, or maybe you haven't. Remember the touch points? Now that we're up to like 12 or 14 touch points before somebody's going to do something. There's also one that you can do that's very, very, very effective. And I do it all the time. If you have to reach out to someone that you've either sold to, or you're still trying to get that appointment, you can't always say, when am I going to see you? When are we going to do this? When are we going to close? You have to reach out for something other than sales. And in your initial conversation, whether you're doing fact finding or whether you're doing an introductory meeting, there's something in that meeting that she has said to you that's really interesting to her. So maybe she said to you, one of my greatest joys would be to learn how to cook in Italy. I would love to be doing that. And I have a library of articles. So I would look in my library and say, there's one about cooking in Italy. And I would take this article and I would send it to Linda. And I would say, hey, Linda, saw this article. It reminded me of you. Have a great day, Judy. Nothing else. Zippity doo-dah, nothing. Because now she knows you're not just about business. So it works, and it's something that your name is now back on the top of their head. Maybe they were just busy, So think about that. And marketing to women also, a lot of times we're looking to see the conversion rate and the click-through rate and the opt-in page and all that nonsense. But you have to remember that it's personal, that the women want some kind of value. They like to surprise and delight. And you can do that with something simple, valuable, and unexpected. And remember that the buying power of women, they control $20 trillion in annual consumer spending. And it's supposed to go up another, 8 to 10 trillion in the next few years. So given that number, isn't it foolish to not even regard the fact that women are that important? And many companies don't do that. In fact, many companies figure that pink is a strategy, okay? Pink is not a strategy. Did you know that gender-neutral advertising to women generate more revenue than those that are in pink? Here's a perfect example, breast cancer, the most recognized use of pink marketing that there is, right? Did you know that when the gender-neutral colors were used for the same exact cause, the revenues were double of the pink ads? Double. So it's not a strategy. But I do want to show you something that I just found over the weekend, which I thought, this is interesting. Breaking news. Guess what? John Deere, they have a new line of tractors called Jane Deere, and it's set to roll off the line in late 2022. Really? Pink tractors? That's who they think are going to, that it's going to, attract women. So I looked up some of the comments, and it says, let's see, besides the color, what accommodations does it have for women? We tend to be a bit shorter and have more lower body strength than upper body strength. Then they're saying, why do companies think if you make it pink, people want it, that women want it? We want function and good value. And then one said, I found painting pink flowers on my trailer and my garden tools. No men want to borrow it. So, there's funny things and ridiculous things, but truth of the matter is Dell did this years ago, and they came out with Della as a computer that was pink, and it lasted a whole minute. So women don't want the pink. They want function. They want things that are valuable to them. And here's what we found. Women feel vastly underserved when it comes to selling to them, when it comes to marketing to them. And despite how much money they have, and despite all the power and the consumer purchasing decisions or whatever, it's still hard for women to find things that they're looking for. And although women control spending in most categories, many businesses just don't have the right marketing for them. Women are the world's most powerful consumers. And so you have to know that, whether you're one person or you're a company. And there's no secrets and there's no silver bullets, but there's three things that one of the women in marketing put out. Her name is Bridget Brennan. She said three things. If the consumer economy had a sex, it would be female, because women drive 85%, we all know that, through a combination of their buying power and their influence. And influence means that a woman isn't paying for something herself, even though she might not be. She's often the veto power of someone else's purchase. Number two, the name on the credit card doesn't tell the whole story. The person who makes a sales transaction isn't necessarily the decision maker. So even if a woman doesn't earn a paycheck, she's likely to be the gatekeeper. And the third is, women are females first and consumers second. So you have to remember that women around the world are the same. And what brings us all together are the roles as caregivers and relationship builders and communicators. And women's impact on consumers, this has been huge. Think about this. In 1974, a married woman could not get a credit card in her own name. Okay? Look where we are now. So not only do women control finances directly, but they're also purchasing products and services that were historically purchased by only men. Think about golf, football, soccer, hardware stores, all of these things, technology, real estate, insurance. Some women are buying machines, but they do have feelings, and we can't forget that. And women want the experience. And that's true for men as well, but women are looking for something. They're looking for the experience that you're going to give them. They want to make sure that what you're offering them, they can take in and they can understand it, and they can call you back and say, okay, I have a question about this. And let's go back to 85% one more time, because that's the only time I'm going to say it. One more time. You have to be serious about this. You have to learn to be a better listener. You have to know what they want, what they need. Women choose what they buy. They go shopping around. They build relationships. Men go in and out. That's it. They want to be done as soon as possible. So their buying experience is a lot different. And here's what I have to say to all of us. Just because we're women It doesn't mean we know how to talk to women, doesn't mean we know how to build relationships with women, and doesn't mean we know how to sell to women. So most of the sales training that we were given, if we had any, were created by men for men. And now things are different. Remember, the marketplace has been different. The marketplace has a new face. The old techniques are not working the way that they used to. Remember that not all men understand men and not all women understand women. And we just have to do better than that. And it's not just business, it's personal. Because the experience that she has is personal. She's going to share you with her friends and her family. She wants to stay connected with you because she's already connected with whatever you offered her. She has to feel the trust, the confidence, the respect, and the connection is real. A woman needs for that personal experience. No matter what, she's likely to drive further. She's likely to be inconvenienced with time, but she's staying with you because you're giving her exactly what she needs. And a perfect example is when I moved to North Carolina, when I had an office there, I flew back to my home in Connecticut every 4 weeks to get my hair cut because I loved this person so much and I was loyal to her. How inconvenient was that? It wasn't until it was. So whether you're doing it right, whether you think you're doing it right, whether you need support, are you being interesting to your clients or interested in them? So just the last few things, when you're with your client and it's female, clear your schedule and give her 100% of your attention. Absolutely no interruptions. They want to feel like they are your only person. Women worldwide, they control $14 trillion in personal wealth. Go Girl Finance reported that by 2028, the average American woman is expected to out-earn the average American male. So make sure that clients don't walk away from the decision-making process. Make sure that they know why they're doing something, not just what they're doing. Provide them with education, because when women are left in the dark, they'll run. Look at Barb. Barb talks about financial literacy all the time. What women don't know about financial literacy is tremendous. She gives them the education that they need. Speak from your personal experiences. This is going to allow them to really have a relationship with you. Women want to relate to each other. They want the community. And follow through, no matter what you're doing. Follow through on your promises, even if it's something little tiny, because it goes a long way. And make her feel like she's your only client. Make her feel important by including her in the conversation. And finally, RESPECT. Okay, while a personal relationship is important, you also have to have a professional one. How you treat her is a big deal. How do you respect yourself is another deal. Can she trust you? Do you do what you're going to say? She's looking for respect. She's looking for trust. She's looking for your commitment. She wants to make sure that you're going to take care of her and her family. Remember that trust is earned, respect is given, and loyalty is demonstrated. Betrayal of any of those, you lose all three. So it's time to be amazing and understand the real decision makers that you meet so that they can say yes and become raving fans. And if you're a woman in leadership, if you're a man that champions women, where do you stand in supporting them? Because the truth is, women want to be treated equally, not identically. And I would like to gift to you a guide that talks about 4 ways to lead like only a woman can. You can either click on the bit.ly. Well, I guess you can't click on bit.ly, but you can use the bit.ly, or there's a link that we can put into the chat as well. And it's really going to talk to you about being laser focused, making sure that you're focusing on your client and on your goals, and how to elevate your brand, and how to be able to amplify your voice, and how to empower yourself and empower others. And so with that, I will answer any questions that you have, and I would love for you to connect with me.